Hey, today I'm talking about 3 Susan Sarandon films because reasons. The names of these 3 movies are Joe, Solitary Man, and Bull Durham. First up is Joe. This is a 1970 film starring the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond, and it is actually Susan Sarandon's feature film debut. And you can definitely tell that she is 24 and doesn't know what she's doing. This movie is interesting. So I went into it looking at this poster being like, there's no way that I'm gonna like this movie. This does not look like it's gonna be good. I feel like it's gonna be maybe some right-wing propaganda or something, but it's not. It's actually great. The basic premise is Susan Sarandon's boyfriend is a hippie. Everyone says he's a drug dealer, but I think he was just buying a lot of drugs so he could be high for a month straight. But when you have that many drugs, it's hard to see you not as a drug dealer. Anyway, but then one day dad meets boyfriend and things do not go well. And then after that, the dad goes to a bar to drink his sorrows away, and whilst there, he meets Joe, a very vocal, racist, sexist piece of shit human who is very pro-union, which really threw me, but it's chill. From there, this crazy piece of shit and this not great person dad form an unlikely friendship where they show off the craziness and hypocrisy of the right. And it's great. Peter Boyle just gives such an incredible performance. I was legit blown away by him. But then I was looking at the IMDb trivia and apparently people misinterpreted this movie. And even though to me his character is very overly toply portrayed, almost cartoonishly evil, awful, terrible, people still misinterpreted it as an aspirational person, which is all sorts of f***ed up, but it's America for you. Yay us. But even with people not interpreting this movie correctly, I still would definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it. It was really solid. It has the correct ending for this type of movie. And yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Also, there's a surprising amount of nudity. So that was fun. Next up is Solitary Man. This is a 2009 film starring Michael Douglas and featuring Imogen Poots, my 5th one of her this year. The basic premise is Michael Douglas finds out that he maybe has something wrong with his heart, and instead of doing further testing, he decides to say F it and then just throw away his marriage and do whatever the hell he wants. So he's constantly just trying to bang beautiful young women, which we only see him successfully do, I guess technically twice, but one of the times he didn't do any of the initiating. It was definitely from a her thing. And the other one was kind of weird because it started off as a lie, but then it wasn't a lie. I don't know, whatever. I ended up putting this movie in the liked category, and I think that's fairly generous because Michael Douglas's character is just awful, and I don't really get what the writer of this was going for because it sort of feels like a morality tale, sort of, but I don't know. He's a piece of shit. I really loved Imogen's performance. She does great. I think this is her first film where she truly got to do something. This is also where she met Jesse Eisenberg, who plays such a meek little character, but he gives a really good performance. I really liked his character. Oh, Olivia Thirlby is also in this. I liked her a lot. Gillian Jacobs is also in this. The casting director nailed it for all these young actors, I do have to say. And it's an interesting-ish story. I just wish the main character, A, wasn't such a piece of shit so I could sympathize with him even just a little bit, and then B, we just get told how much he suave sexiness that he has, but we don't really see it. And if they were going for he's all talk and no game, they didn't do it quite right. And if they're going for the other way where he actually is suave and sexy and stuff, they still didn't do it right. It just didn't quite work, and it's weird. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend this movie. I did like it, and again, the liking is a very generous ranking. And lastly is Bull Durham. This is a 1988 film starring Kevin Costner and Tim Robbins. And I don't get what this movie is. It's a baseball movie where I legit asked to myself, what is the point of this? Like, what are they going for? What are they doing? It just feels like this movie is just like, hey, baseball's cool, right? Let's faff about and occasionally talk about baseball. The premise is Tim Robbins is an up-and-coming pitcher who's really good, but he's also terrible. And so Kevin Costner gets brought in from something to help coach him into being a better pitcher. And then Susan Sarandon is just a baseball groupie, and that's all she does, is just look hot and give baseball tips. She did both things well, but whatever. Yeah, I really didn't care for this movie. Like, I'm very confused why it has good ratings, good reviews, because, like, it seems so pointless and dumb, and it's just an unorganized mess of ideas as a film. I hated Tim Robbins' character. Kevin Costner felt like he was just phoning it in. Like, there was one scene where, like, he's supposed to be, like, all dramatic and stuff, and I'm just like, that was terrible. And then Susan Sarandon, who I thought was going to be like a lead, was kind of like shoved into the background. So yeah, so I didn't like this movie. I don't recommend it. Maybe if you're like super duper into baseball, but... Or if you want to see Susan Sarandon naked. Or Tim Robbins' butt. See his butt twice. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Joe sitting at number 51 in the really like section. And then after that, a decent ways down, is Solitary Man sitting at number 149 in the liked section. And then bringing up the rear, rightfully so, is Bull Durham sitting at number 197 in the didn't like category. And this is out of a total of 204 old movies so far this year.